had the bright idea of painting all the new suspension parts for this truck before test fitting them, so let's see how this goes. It's been a little while, but last we left, I had a couple changes to make on the files before I could reprint these parts, and I think I got everything straight now. What I did was actually give us about 1 degree or 1.5 degrees of positive camber when the truck is slammed out on the ground. That way, whenever it raises up, it should be at 0 degrees of camber. To do that, all I really had to do was lengthen those upper little arms, and that was about it. Reprinted everything, painted everything pretty nice and neat. Now it's time to assemble, so let's just get into this. So starting off pretty simple, we're putting in the front cross member. This goes back in the same exact place as the original one. And then we'll take the entire steering system off of the original front cross member and screw it into this one. Next up, you can see putting the new lower control arms in with the same original pins and moving on to the C-hubs, using some more hinge pins with those E-clips that I love so much. The new upper link goes in and screws directly into the C-hub, and then we move on to the cantilever arms so that I can put those servos back in place, securing them with the original screws as well. Attaching the cantilever arms to the servo arms has probably been one of my most favorite parts of putting this back together, if you can hear the sarcasm there. And then we'll install the shocks, linking all of this suspension together, the cantilevers to the lower control arms, finishing off our lifting mechanism. If you were wondering why I waited till last to put the knuckles on, it's because I was waiting for these little guys to come off the printer. These are basically just some bushings that I made. It allows the knuckle to spin when the screws are tightened, holding the knuckles into the C-hubs. And then finally, we can put our hex rotors back on and finishing off the brakes. I also had to make a new mounting bracket for the calipers. This was a really quick print. It screws directly into the knuckle as well, and the caliper screws into it. Finishing off the front, we can put the wheels back on. Onto the forelink, I needed to modify the upper wishbone. You can see I actually had to grind into it here to let the shocks clear it when it was lifting up. The new one has plenty of clearance. A little more difficult to design, but it should give us a lot of clearance. This mounts back in the same place. The only thing, I used the 2 lowest holes I had in the chassis. This just allowed me to extend that upper wishbone out further and away from the shocks. And now we can finally test it out and see how this works. Well, it's probably pretty obvious that I need to go ahead and adjust the steering links as well as clean up some of that wiring, but I'm a lot happier with the lifting of the truck now. I still need to go ahead and put the motor and transmission back in as well so I can put the body on it, but there definitely seems to be a considerable amount of lift, a lot more than we had before, and there's a lot of clearance everywhere, so I can actually lift this a little higher from what I'm seeing by changing a couple of things. Super small things such as changing the screw hole location on the servo horns in the front could allow me to actually lift this even higher. The rear has absolutely no issue now. I'm not even close to touching those shocks. And although it's not in there yet, it looks like our pinion angle is gonna be just about perfect when that transmission gets in there. So now I have the task of going ahead and cleaning up those wires again. I'm definitely gonna do that off camera. I may even go ahead and shorten some of them up now that I've driven it around a bit and know everything works pretty well. Get rid of some of this rat's nest over here. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Make sure to leave a like if you did. I know a lot of you guys have been enjoying seeing the progress on this truck and the process of engineering this chassis and following along with it since the beginning. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next time we head out to a car show with this truck. It'll probably be a little while, but you'll definitely see it again. And as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.